Welcome to Love in Life, a guide to a positive mindset. My aim is to show you that the key to a happier and more positive mind is to love the life you have. We will look at tips and tools you can use to improve your mindset, and the best thing is, we'll all be on this journey together. Hi, and welcome to week 24 of Love in Life. Now, how have you been this week? Last week, I said that my aim for this last week was to start getting prepared for Christmas. So I'm pleased to say I have put my Christmas decorations up. And if you follow me on Instagram, then you may have seen some of these. And I hate to brag, but my house is made for Christmas. Have you seen it? If not, go and have a look on Instagram. I love it and I'm very proud. And I have started my Christmas shopping finally. I've got Craig sorted, so that is the main thing for me. I've sorted that. I've got the Christmas decorations up. I can now concentrate on enjoying the rest of the month because I do love December. I love Christmas. I love everything that it represents in terms of not necessarily religion. I know that's the whole point of Christmas, but for me, the whole point of Christmas is about spending time with my family and, making memories with my family and being grateful for those times that I've got with my family. So that is what I'm all about. Let me know what you're all about when it comes to Christmas or whatever you celebrate. Because for those of us who are lucky enough, like I said, Christmas is all about family and it's about making memories. But whilst Christmas, or whatever you celebrate, is meant to be the happiest time of the year, for many, it is a time of dread. And that is what I'm going to be talking about today. So my podcast today is how to survive the holidays, or at least make it more bearable. Because to be fair, even those of us that love Christmas, there's still things that irritate you about certain events, certain people. And I just want to talk about how you can use your positive mindset to get through it all this year. But before I go on to talking about that, I just want to tell you about something I've got coming up. So you may remember a few months ago now, or at least a few weeks ago, I mentioned that I would do some kind of goal setting workshop for people. And now I've got my certification in life coaching. I feel like now is probably a good time to do that and to put some of my training into practice. So without further ado, let me introduce to you 2023, the year of me. And I just want to say, this is completely different to New Year's resolutions, which are quite often forgotten about. New Year's resolutions, we quite often say, right, next year I'm going to drink less, or next year I'm going to launch my business. But those things they're just like flippant comments. We might focus on them for a few weeks, but they're soon forgotten about. Because when you set aside time to actually set goals and intentions, you sit down and you make plans of how you're going to achieve them. And we don't often do that with New Year's resolutions. So we're going to review areas of your life that you would like to focus on. We're going to look at goals that you'd like to achieve. And we're going to work out some plans of how we might go about achieving them. And the reason why doing it this way is far more effective than making a New Year's resolution is because you're making a commitment to yourself by writing down your intentions and making plans. You are making a commitment to yourself. So we're going to do this in that pesky little time between Christmas and New Year where we just eat the rest of the quality streets. Well, not me because I'm vegan, but you know what I mean. Eat the rest of the shit that's lying about. Moan that there's nothing to do. Watch crap on the telly. We are going to make the most of this time. So we're going to set aside some time on the 29th of December. I haven't decided what time yet because I've got people in the UK. I've got people in America. I've got people in Australia. There are people that listen all over the world. Those are where my most amount of listeners are based. So please do let me know. I might put something on Instagram actually, and maybe let me know where you are so as I can decide on what time would be best. If not, then it doesn't really matter what time you are able to do it, because it will be recorded and you will be able to watch it back. So if the 29th doesn't suit you, then that's absolutely fine. If whatever time I decide on doesn't suit you, that's absolutely fine. You can always watch it back. Obviously, there is a benefit to doing it live with me because... Sorry if you can hear Hugo snoring. There is a benefit to doing it live with me because you can ask questions along the way and we can interact. So I'm going to do this on the 29th of December, time to be confirmed. It's going to be just £20, which is the equivalent to about 24 US dollars or 36 Australian dollars, just so you don't have to work it out. And the reason why I'm doing it at this price is because I just thought this would be a good way for you to see my coaching style. So if you were to ever consider investing in a life coach, then this might give you a little bit of a glance into the way that I do things. So make the most of this low price. And I have to say, when I did this exercise myself last year, I just want to tell you a few of the goals that I set and the ones that I achieved. And actually, when you look back and realise what you've achieved, it's pretty amazing, actually. So last year, I wanted to focus on becoming more consistent on social media with my business. Well, obviously, I kind of changed my business. I wanted to enroll on a life coaching course, which I've done and completed. I wanted to get a life coach, which obviously I have got a business and life coach. I wanted to get the roof done on my house, the electrics done on my house, which I've done. I wanted to get a Tesla, which to be honest with you, I had already ordered that by the time I did it. I set the goal last year, but it came in March. So I've got my Tesla. I wanted to get my nails done more regularly. Well, we all know what happened there. And I wanted to continue yoga and build strength. Well, I've kind of fallen out of yoga a little bit because I joined the gym and I've definitely built strength. So I'm really, really chuffed about that. It's like, until you look back over what you wrote last year, you kind of forget. Like I knew I'd achieved a lot of goals, but looking back there, I really have achieved quite a few of the goals that I set out to do. So that is just a little bit of a glimpse into what I wanted to achieve and what I did achieve, because it's a really powerful exercise to do. So I do hope you consider joining me. I will obviously I'll put something in a link in the show notes for you to find out more information, or obviously feel free to ask me any questions. So let's get on with today's episode. How to use your positive mindset to survive the holidays, or at least make it bearable. How do you feel about Christmas? Like, we're in December now, we're a week into December. How are you feeling? Are you excited? Are you feeling a bit of excitement, but also a little bit of dread? Maybe times are a little bit hard for you at the moment and you're a little bit worried about your finances. Maybe you are dreading the family disputes, or maybe you have triggering family members or people around you that you're going to have to be around, and you're a bit worried about that. Are you feeling a little bit stressed already? Do you worry about time management? Or do you feel pressure from people to celebrate in a way that just isn't in alignment with you anymore? If any of those resonate with you, then I am here for you. I can honestly say that I have experienced all of those examples I gave of why people might dread Christmas. So this year, more so than any, because of the energy crisis that we have worldwide at the moment, people are going to be struggling financially. And this is a massive reason for people to worry about Christmas. Not only do we want to treat ourselves with nice food and drink over the holidays, we feel that we are expected to buy presents for people, spend money that we don't have doing so. And, in some family setups, there will be a certain expectation to spend a certain amount, or where you get judged on what you buy, how much you spend, and that is just not right. If you are really, really struggling financially, then please don't just listen to my views on how you can use your mindset to get you through it. Please speak to somebody if you are truly struggling to pay your bills. Because I'm no Martin Lewis. If you're not familiar with Martin Lewis, if you're not in the UK, he is how can I explain him? He's this guy that we have in the UK who's really savvy, and he advises people on how to spend their money more wisely, how to cut back on their bills, where they can save on money where they are entitled to. Does that make sense? I'm not him. I focus on mindset. So a couple of things I can advise you on getting you through this time of year. First thing is, remember this is just a moment in time. Like I've said so many times in the last few episodes when we've been talking about universal laws, the law of polarity says there's always an opposite to everything. So there is an opposite to how you're feeling right now. Whilst you're not feeling that opposite right now, just try and imagine it. Think of the polar opposite feeling and then try and focus on attracting that opposite feeling. And if you use the law of polarity during meditation or visualization, then that's more likely to put you in the vibration of feeling more accepting about this time of year, just in a higher vibration in general. I know this next piece of advice sounds really obvious, and you probably hear this from everybody, but try making your own homemade gifts where you can. And to be honest with you, this is something I think would be just lovely to do anyway, regardless of what your financial situation is. But what I want you to do is just think what you prefer to receive as a gift, like you personally. Like, how nice does it feel to receive something that somebody has put their own love and energy into? This is something my sister's always done for the family. So she's made us chocolates. She's made us, I remember she made all the women in our family like a lavender pillow, the ones that you put in the microwave and it heats up, like a heat pillow. And it was just so lovely. And also like our own little individual essential oil mixes. And it's just so thoughtful. And I guarantee you, anybody that loves and appreciates you will recognise the thought has gone into the presents that you've given or made. And if people turn their nose up at presents you've either made or where you've just held back on the money, limited the amount of money that you spend, so maybe reduce your budget for somebody who you would normally spend money on for Christmas. If people turn their nose up at that, don't feel guilty. Question if they're the kind of people you'd even want to spend money on anyway, if you had it. If they're going to turn their nose up and think you should have spent more, or don't like your homemade gift and should be spending money on them instead, if they can't appreciate your situation, then you don't want to be wasting your money on them anyway, do you really? And then finally, don't be too proud to ask for help or advice. And the reason why I say this is because I was on Facebook a couple of days ago and I saw a Facebook post in a local group, and a member of this group explained that her house is absolutely freezing. She can't afford to turn on the heating. And she was simply asking for advice on how to keep warm. She had over 100 comments, which were like replies from local people, not only offering their advice, but also offering items to help her. So somebody offered her a gas heater, somebody offered her electric blankets, but she also had people offer her money to support her. And obviously she didn't want people's money and she refused people's money. But that just goes to show that there are good people out there and people will surprise you. So never, ever be afraid to ask for help. Never be afraid to tell people what situation you're in, because you're not always going to be in this situation. Like I said earlier, there's always an opposite. And I can 100% speak from experience here. I'm sure Craig won't mind me sharing this, but 5 or 6 years ago, Craig had his own business which supported our family and it was failing. We were very, very close to bankruptcy, to be honest with you. And that particular Christmas was not a very nice time for us. Obviously, having 2 children and a mortgage, it was quite a scary time. But fast forward those few years and we're in the best financial position we've ever been in. So it just goes to show, when you think you're at rock bottom, there's always a way up. Right, so the second thing that causes worry at this time of year is family disputes. So if you have family feuds, or if you've fallen out with a family member, you don't see a family member, or if it's just generally awkward. So my advice to you in this case is limit the amount of time you spend at Christmas with people who trigger you. So if a family member regularly triggers you, then visit them for an hour. Like, agree a time that you're going to visit them, you go to their house, and limit the time you spend there. Like, make it known that you're going to be round from a certain time until a certain time. Set your own boundaries. And you don't have to declare your boundaries to anybody else. As long as you know what your boundaries are, then that's fine. Just make sure you stick to them. Or at least do what feels right at the time. And if there is a family member that does regularly trigger you, have some responses ready. Have some high vibe responses ready. Don't respond to them with low vibe emotions such as anger, sadness, stubbornness. Think of a way you can respond with love, kindness, empathy, even if they're not showing those. You know more about consciousness levels and vibrations and frequencies, etc., etc. You know more about that than they do. So respond to them with a high vibe emotion or response. And even if it doesn't resolve the situation, I guarantee you'll feel better about responding in that way than you will if you retaliate with anger, stubbornness. Like, those responses, when you respond in ways like that, it makes you feel shit. Whereas at least if you respond with a loving comment, then you can go out holding your head high and know that you've done the right thing. And it does feel good. You can come back with saying something like, I know you're trying to help, but let's just spend this time together talking about positive things or happy times. And just be aware of your tone, because if you deliver that response in like a pissed off way, then that is going to attract a low vibe response in itself. If you have had like family fallouts and this upsets you at this time of year because usually or in the past you would have spent time together and now you're not, remember some happy memories that you've had with these people. Store these in your head, and if you are visiting them, rather than focusing on past disputes or what they're likely to bring up before you go there, focus on happy times. And then if you turn up expecting, happy times rather than expecting disputes to be brought up or expecting triggers, like if that's your vibe, if that's what attitude you turn up with, then you're more likely to attract that. And if not, if you don't attract that, then at least you've got your responses ready. Maybe your family put pressure on you to spend a certain amount of time with them, or to spend Christmas somewhere you don't want to be. Like if you've got kids and you want to be at home, like I remember when the boys were really little, we had one side of the family wanted us to go to theirs. We had the other side of the family wanted us to go to theirs. And in the end, we just, it took a few years, but in the end, we just were like, no, we're going to spend Christmas in our own house. Anybody who wants to come over is welcome. Like we've always said, people are welcome. But yeah, we set our own boundaries. Like we have children, they want to be at home. Christmas for us is about our children, our family, and that's what we're going to do. Like do what feels right for you and your family. And then on the flip side of that, there may be people who don't have the luxury of, families fighting over them and friends inviting them round. There are people that might be lonely at Christmas. And if that is you, then like I said earlier, do not be too proud to ask people. Like I cannot stress that enough. There are lovely people out in this world. Have faith in the lovely people that there are and ask for help. Explain to people that you've got nowhere to go. Even if you were to, like I said, somebody put in the Facebook group about how to keep their house warm at Christmas or this winter. Put it out there that you're on your own. Does anybody else who might be on their own want to spend Christmas with you, or arrange to meet up with somebody? Or, there's always somebody in the same position as you. And there's always somebody who would love to help you. It might not necessarily be the people you expect to want to help you, or that you would want to help you, but there are people who want to help. Another thing that's quite often a cause of worry and stress at this time of year is time management. Only the other day I was in the gym, in the changing rooms, and there was two ladies having a chat as they were getting changed, and one of them was saying how like every day in December there's something going on, she's got to go out for drinks with this person or a meeting with this person, and she's worrying about when she's going to do her Christmas shopping alongside work, and it's quite stressful. There's always something going on, especially if you are an employee and you have work nights out and things like that. I don't have that luxury. Sadly, I don't get a Christmas work day, which I really miss actually from my days of working for somebody. That's the one thing I miss, is like a paid Christmas party. But there we go, I can live without that. But yeah, your diary is just jam-packed full of stuff, and it's fun stuff a lot of the time, and it's really enjoyable, but it doesn't take away the fact that you're running out of time and you've got this time pressure of getting things done by a certain date, and it is stressful. And my advice in this situation is make sure you've got everything written down. So if you're the kind of person that works visually, like I like to physically write everything down, and so as I can see it in front of me on pen and paper. I'm pretty old school when it comes to that. Craig always laughs at me, but I am getting better at putting things in my diary on my phone. But yeah, I think it's good to see everything that you've got and then work out what spare time you have got, and just make sure that you're being really organised with what time you have got. Organise yourself so as you know exactly what you've got to do. Write lists of, be prepared for who you need to buy for, what you want to buy for them, if you're buying or making, and give yourself a time frame to get certain things done by. Like I know I've talked before about, I'm a big believer in time blocking, and the reason why time blocking is so effective is because when you commit to doing something in a particular time, it just puts more pressure on you to actually do it. And that's a good pressure sometimes. Like sometimes it's not, but it is a good pressure because, you feel, because you've written it down and because you've committed to it, you feel like you have to stick to it. So there's more chance of you getting it done. So use time blocking on the days that you've got free. So when you're not working, not got meetings, not got Christmas dues, But also remember to give yourself some time for self-care. So don't fill all of your time with organising yourself. You have to make sure you get some time for self-care as well. Otherwise, you're going to feel stressed. Okay, and then finally, the last stressful thing I wanted to discuss about the Christmas period is when you get pressure from people to do something that you don't want to do. So, for example, somebody who makes a conscious decision not to drink might feel pressure from people over the festive period who expect them to have a drink just because it's Christmas. People get really funny and really judgy when you've got your own boundaries and people don't necessarily understand them, and they get really judgy about it. And that's not fair, actually. Not everybody does, but some people do get very judgy about it. And you know my answers to this? Fuck them. My dad, this is a saying that my dad came out with, this is something he says all the time, and it is so good, and it just applies to anything where people aren't being open-minded with their views, when people aren't being supportive of your views and your way of life. Fuck them. And if you have got people who do put pressure on you to do things that you don't want to do over the festive period, then I strongly suggest that you do limit your time that you spend with people like this, because it's not a very nice feeling, especially if you are the kind of person who does take on other people's emotions and take things to heart. If you're sensitive, then it is really, really difficult. But just try it. Fuck them. I can promise you it is so effective. Next time someone's putting pressure on you, or someone doesn't get you, or someone's being argumentative, or just think, fuck them. And question to yourself why they put pressure on you. Like, do they know your decision? Do they know your reasons for doing a certain thing or not doing a certain thing? And if so, if they do know your decisions, then are they the right people to be around if they're going to carry on being judgy and putting pressure on you anyway? So limit the time you spend with them and just think, fuck them. And that is my advice for getting you through the festive period. And before I sign off today, I just want to say a massive thank you for all the interest shown in my Good Morning Club. If you're a little bit reluctant, if you're not sure whether this is going to be for you or not, then I have got a great suggestion for you. So I've decided that in January, because I do think a lot of people are probably going to be more inclined to want to make a fresh start with their mornings in the new year. So what I've decided I'm going to do is I'm going to do a free 3-day challenge in January. And I'm going to start this on the 4th of January, which I think is the day that most kids go back to school. It might be the day that you go back to work, but I'm going to do it for 3 days. And again, it doesn't matter if you're not available at the times that I'm doing it. There will be replays. But yeah, take a look at that. I'm going to post a link to that in my show notes. Well, you know what I mean. That link that I put in my show notes is the link to everything of mine. So you will find anything to do with me in that link. So click on the Linktree link and you'll find the details for that there. So please join me for the 3-day challenge, which, like I said, is completely free. And it just gives you a little taster as to what would be, what you can expect from joining my membership. So if you're interested in doing that, then click the link for 3-day challenge. So yeah, really exciting. I've got lots coming up. The first of all is the 2023, the year of me, on the 29th of December. And then from the 4th of January, we've got the free 3-day challenge. So I really hope to see many of you there. Oh, and just to clarify, when I say 3-day challenge, I don't mean all day of those 3 days, just 20 minutes or so of each of those days. Let's set ourselves up for the best year ever by beginning the year with some already set intentions that you know exactly what you need to do, and then build yourself a lovely morning routine which just helps you start each day with the right mindset, a success mindset, successful in whatever you choose to be successful in. So that's it for me. I will speak to you guys next week. I hope you have a fabulous stress-free week with extra time for self-care where you can. I am going for a lovely spa day tomorrow, actually, with, the day that you're listening to this, with my mum and my sister, because it was my mum's birthday yesterday and my nan has treated us to a lovely spa day to say thank you for all the help we've given her this year. And my dad, bless him, is treating us all to some treatment. So we're going to have just the most wonderful day. And then, then I've got a lovely couple of days in London with Craig, just the two of us. Honestly, I've just got the best week coming up. Busy, but with lovely things. So I can deal with that. So whatever you're doing, stay focused, stay positive, and stay organised. Thanks as always for listening. Lots of love. Bye.